Okay, I think we're back. Yeah, okay, we should be back. Hooray! Modem reset. Yay! Annoying. But, okay. Yay. Hooray. Cool. I guess we should get into the review on stream shiz. It's about time for that. I was here. Saving the grid. We are finding the content I was at. I determined that was the issue. Because I've been having issues with the network for a while. And also, you know all those monitors and the the dashboards I've been building with that sim? You know, on Grafana? The thing I've been building for weeks? Everything else is green lit, baby! Except the modem. That's the only thing I didn't have a monitor on. But everything else was green. And then I was like, yep, that's probably the modem. So I'm probably gonna call my ISP afterwards and be like, hey, I'm gonna wanna rent one of your modems. So I like thought about it, like, I don't want to buy another modem, even though I've been doing that, because the issue is I'm eventually gonna have to rent the modem anyway, or get their modem when Spectrum does high split. Because they have some stupid thing where if you're getting the symmetrical bandwidth, you need to use their modem. Linux users be doing anything but using their OS. Just the opposite. I'm pretty sure Linux users use their operating system the most. What's up, Mochi? How's it going? But yeah, so it's definitely been the modem. Especially because I've been doing all these optimizations on the network and everything. But yeah. So that was the fun jazz. Okay, so LexisNexis was hacked, apparently. I think we talked about that. Oh, we talked about the Proton Mail thing. EA's Javelin anti-cheat is coming to ARM-based systems soon. That's interesting. Okay, so Nero shared a Reddit post that was deleted by the actual poster, so I can't even talk about that. So I guess we'll talk about this video about the Anthropic CEO, so we can learn about who is Dario. How you feeling on the prices? They're effed! I think you're talking about the oil prices, right? Prices of everything. Let me make sure the box is sending the audio.
Front, left.
Yay. Okay. Okay, so this is the Dario of Anthropic, the CEO. So, oh, this is a part 1. Huh. So, Anthropic CEO has a disturbing origin story. Uh-oh. What's up, Buzzy Oi? Or Buzz Yoy 69? What's up? I'm doing alright. Alright, so this is the origin story of Anthropic CEO from Dr. Josh C. Simmons. So, let's see. We all know about Sam Altman. ChatGPT, you know, OpenAI. We've talked a lot about him. Everyone knows about Sam Altman at this point. But nobody really knows much about Dario. Assume this DE is GNOME. Yeah, this is GNOME. This is Pop! OS Linux. This is 2204. I'm still on 2204.
Just like Sam Altman, the CEO.
Hold on, is that audio like really off? Oh, okay, that's just an effect he has. Okay, I was just like really concerned.
Of one
It
of
looked
the
like
world's
VHS.
most known and powerful AI companies, Anthropic, didn't study engineering. But unlike Sam Altman, he didn't even come up through Silicon Valley. He was a physicist for years in a lab, trying to predict what neurons would do before they actually did it. And nobody is talking about the implications of this or his research on a broader scale. What most media stories get wrong about Dario Amodei is that he was the safety guy that left OpenAI to found his own company. And that is true. But this framing, this lens that it sets Dario up through is incorrect. When you look at it that way, you start to conceive of him as Sam Altman's cautious rival, the safety-focused rival that wanted to build his own
Yeah, that's
LLM.
fair enough. That's kind of like how everyone frames him, especially now that like everybody's like framing Claude as the savior of AI compared to OpenAI. But philosophically, all software as a service models of AI are still, in my opinion, the wrong way. I think if we're going to be using AI, it should be a locally driven AI, not this data center driven thing. It should be, you know, kind of what I'm doing, which is I have a box that I've built and they can run it, and I'm trying to get DGX Sparks. Of course, it's a little bit expensive, but I think that's the approach that should be taken on things, rather than centralizing that power to a few and then selling us the service. And then, yeah, you've heard me go on about this quite a bit. But continuing on.
That is the surface story, but the deeper story is much weirder. And honestly, if you haven't had experience in graduate education, if you don't have a PhD, it's difficult to parse through. It's very dense to suss out Dario's real story and real motivations, but that's exactly what I'll be doing in this video series. The essence of Dario's entire career and research is about predicting how human minds work in advance of them actually thinking. This is just part one of a three-part series. Everyone talks about OpenAI, the split, the rivalry. Again, that sets us up with the wrong framing for this narrative. So we're going to come back to it later on, but we're going to skip that for now, and we're going to start chronologically. Who was Dario before Anthropic? Well, he didn't go into tech. He actually went into physics, hard physics. He did a PhD at Princeton. It was
hard physics. That's what she said.
Not in computer science. It was not in
Am I immature? Yes.
It was in biophysics and neuroscience. The title of his dissertation.
The fact that it was biophysics just makes it even funnier to me that I made that joke. Anyway, continuing.
Was network scale electrophysiology, measuring and understanding the collective behavior in neural circuits. If your brain shut off before like the colon in the title, I don't blame you. This is a typical academic ivory tower washed title. But let's hone in on the relevant part of this, which is the collective behavior of neural circuits. He was studying how brains compute at the network level. So I did something that
that is actually really
interesting.
interesting.
Do with the New York Times, at the Wall Street Journal, or any other kind of off the street YouTuber.
You're gonna use your brain. Sorry.
My academic experience to read his dissertation. Did I read it cover to cover? No. Did 90% of it make sense to me? No. But I made a career out of crunching down these dense academic tomes into understandable threads. And that's
my
exactly
ADHD
what
would
I've done here to
never
try to suss out the essence of intellectually, who is Dario and how does this matter to his pursuit of what exactly? Well, I can say that this was not a theoretical hand-wavy dissertation. Sometimes there's this whole class of dissertations that are ideas. They're not proven out by experiments. They're very theoretical. What if? Maybe they're backed by math, but they lack real-world applications. This has some of that framing in the dissertation, but it is also very concrete. He was doing real experiments with real measurements, real tools in a lab.
Interesting.
The simplest I can really put the essence of his dissertation work was he took very, very tiny electrode arrays. And what he did was measure how neurons fire in the brain, what pattern.
What are your thoughts on people going after Linux because it's not regulated like Windows and it's not as easy to monitor like Windows? I've got several YouTube videos where I've gone deep into that. They're not really going so much as after it as they're just ignorant of that it exists.
Do they fire in? What groupings do they fire in order to predict how these neurons would act collectively? So again, this isn't some hand-wavy neuroscience, what if we did this, what if we did that type dissertation. This is, we built tools to spy on neural networks in real time and predict how they act in groups. I don't care what you say, that is a computer science degree, name be damned. He's using some pretty advanced mathematical modeling, but established mathematical modeling to actually prove this out in the dissertation from the measurements that he's taken with this equipment. And again, this isn't measuring whether a single neuron is firing or not. This is measuring and predicting how patterns of neurons fire together. I want to read you a quote from that dissertation that illustrates his core thesis. If you can measure enough of the network with enough quality, you can replace hand-wavy stories about emergence with testable, quantitative models. Let's take it one more time to let that sink in. If you can measure enough of the network with enough quality, you can replace hand-wavy stories about emergence with testable, quantitative models. Think about the implications of that. Don't think about the brain, neurons, math, theoretical physics, any of that. Think about the real-world implications of that statement. He's essentially saying if we have enough compute power, we can predict the thoughts and the actions of collective groups of people in what order they fire in. I don't think that that's an unjust extrapolation of that idea onto bigger playing pieces. There's almost an element of determinism in this argument that things must behave in a patterned way. And it almost seems like the underlying presupposition he has is that we simply do not have enough computing power or correct enough mathematical models to predict this. Put most simply, you have a man that believes that if you can observe carefully enough under perfect conditions, you can predict the future. Before we get into how Dario's mindset informed all of his later ventures, I want to take a break with a word from our sponsor. The Dr. J Show is sponsored by Magic Mind. Whenever I have to get into some lengthy academic tome like Dario's dissertation,
could be magic mushrooms. Is it magic mushrooms?
I like to have something to keep me focused and keep me going. Magic Mind is perfect for that. It has about the same amount of caffeine as half a cup of coffee. It has lion's mane mushroom, which is nootropic. It also has ashwagandha, which is probably why I talk so much. Right now, if you order Magic Mind with code...
Okay, so I take enough ashwagandha and all the stuff in it with my other supplements. I don't need one more.
Dr. Josh 20.
I need my tea to arrive already so I can drink something calming.
20% off your order. If you turn that into a subscription, you get 48% off. And Magic Mind supports the Dr. J Show. Every time you order from Magic Mind, we get 10% of that order that goes right back into the channel. Again, that's magicmind.com/drjosh20. His whole dissertation is essentially one argument. And I'm going to rephrase it for you, and it's going to make more sense given the context of the AI space right now. Scale your measurement, constrain your models, and you can predict collective behavior. So they are scaling the measurement by so many people using the platform. You, me, everybody, their sister and brother are using this stuff 24/7. So they have tons of new data ingested into the model at all times. They've already scraped and ripped off everything on the web, all this copyrighted material. And so they've scaled the measurement. They've constrained the models, and they're literally called models. That's why I chose to use that word. They were mathematical models, of course, in his dissertation, but now they're large language models, which are still mathematical models at some level. And it can predict collective behavior, which is, as I've said many times on the channel, exactly what an LLM is doing under the hood. It is predicting the most probable next word in a sentence, right?
Yeah, like we've been saying for a long time, LLMs are great, but they're basically just glorified autocomplete. It's an oversimplification, perhaps, but an accurate one.
So this is literally the same as his dissertation research. Nobody's talking about this, and this is an extremely on-the-nose implication, as you'll find with everything in Dario's output, as we'll see in the rest of the series. And at this point, maybe you're a little skeptical. You're thinking, you know, Dr. J, you've had way too much Magic Mind. You're making these connections between disparate things. And I'm glad you brought that objection up, because Dario just went on the Dwarkesh podcast in February 2026. You've probably been seeing this make the rounds on social media. And I have a direct quote that backs me up here. He says, quote, There are only a few things that matter. One is how much raw compute you have. That's him in 2026. Swap electrodes for GPU, swap neurons for parameters, and you get Anthropic. It is his dissertation research, people. Tech Media treats neuroscience as a footnote. I'm telling you, you can download his dissertation now if you search it. There's a PDF out there. You're not going to understand much of it. I didn't understand much of it, but you can leaf through it. You can kind of get the gist. And most of the media is treating this like a footnote. It's curiosity. It's like, oh, how cute and how interesting. He was in neuroscience. But I will tell you something that nobody else will tell you unless they have a PhD. So you only know this if you have a PhD, and you know it in your bones. You know it in the sense that you're like cursed with it and you can't get rid of it. When you do a PhD, there's no guarantee of a good outcome. There's no guarantee of a good job. In fact, it's probably one of the worst things you could do for your career, as opposed to just going into industry and working. You're researching something that likely has no immediate practical applications. It might have practical applications, but those applications are 10, 20 years off. You're living at this future time scale that doesn't match up with industries. So when you graduate, you have knowledge that is going to be extremely useful 10, 20, 30 years from now, but it's not useful today. And any commercial employer is just going to say, oh, look, they just spent, 5 to 10 years faffing around. Oh, they're so smart, this and that, not realizing that you have top tier research skills, ability to communicate ideas, ability to convince a dissertation panel committee. So I would say, in a sense, you have to be a bit of an extremist to get a PhD. And by extremist, I mean you need to believe so fervently in the idea of your research, in the importance of what you're doing, that you will still do it in poverty without the likely or guaranteed outcome that you're going to receive any kind of job doing anything related to it afterwards, other than maybe some adjunct professor post in Iowa paying $30K a year part-time, and it's not guaranteed after the first year. So you have to.
We'll find Dario basically teaching at community college after Anthropic implodes, basically. Lart Maxer tries to look like he knows what he's talking about. You have to piece this. You have an AIPFP and use the word Lart Maxing unironically. I have to find it funny that a guy with the name Have to Pee just dunked on another dude like that. Oh, that is comedy gold right there. Thoughts on running sudo rm sudo-rm//. I don't know. Run it on your own machine. Let me know what happens. Please don't run that on a machine. And by the way, it's /*
To be an extremist.
No, I paused it
for your idea. And that term gets thrown around a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of bad extremists for bad things, probably associated with the word terrorist pretty easily. But I will tell you, that is one thing that I pick out in Dario, and I pick out in most other PhDs, is that they're extremists. And we have that in common. And I know an extremist when I talk to them. There's a certain intensity. And when I see Dario speak, when I read the press releases...
Have you seen the LTT Linux challenge? No, and as I was saying last night on stream, I don't really have much respect for Linus Tech Tips when it comes to a lot of those things. Like, this is the dude that last time he did the Linux challenge, his error was he went and used the computer without doing updates first, which, by the way, is a no-no whether you're using Windows, Mac, or Linux. You always run updates first, then go do the thing. I've heard people talk about it. It's just... And I have to say this, as a guy that grew up, as I said this before, I grew up with Linus Tech Tips when he was back on NCIX Tech Tips and all that. I just kind of like, I don't know how else to say it, lost respect for the dude. Like, there's plenty of other YouTube tech creators I absolutely love and respect, like Gamers Nexus. If we're talking about the prosumer side of things, I will respect the hell out of Louis Rossmann, Crosstalk Solutions. Was it Crosstalk Solutions? Lawrence Tech, I think it is. Level 1 Techs. But yeah.
And I
mean, I've heard people talk about it. I don't know if I'm really that interested in watching a Linus Tech Tips video because I don't know. Like, it's just something like, I feel like, I'd say like close to a decade ago, something just turned me off from wanting to watch any of his content. I can't really name what it is, but it's just, I don't know. It just, I don't know.
His dissertation, I get that vibe. He is an extremist, and that is something that is essential for you to know about Dario, to understand him. So that's why we've spent the first section of this.
He sold out. That's the best way to put it, honestly. Honestly, yeah, that is a good way to put it. He suited up. But in the worst way. He didn't suit up in the Barney Stinson legend, wait for it, dairy way. Like, yeah, I don't know, just, and it's really disappointing because back in the day, Linus was really, it felt a little bit more educational and, at the same time entertaining, and then just something changed along the way where he just kind of plateaued. Rossmann going to war with graphene was hilarious. Yeah, and Louis Rossmann and I both ran into the same issue with the developers of graphene. Even though I still like the project of graphene, I still say Louis was right in his opinions about the developers of graphene, because I too got into it with the developers of Graphene OS on Mastodon. And my crime, I shit you not, I think one or two of my mods, if Kara's here, they can actually attest to this, because I think they were around to witness that, if I'm not mistaken. My crime was, I was talking about Graphene OS in the same post that I said, I'm getting a Graphene OS phone while I'm waiting for this phone, the Purism Librem 5, to come in for me to review it, so I have a phone for me to take to DEF CON. This is my first DEF CON. And they just blew up and had this whole, like, diatribe, like, just, like, bashing purism and everything like that. And look, it's one thing to have opinions, but it's like, they didn't even respect the fact of what I was saying was like, look, I'm going to be reviewing different kinds of hardware and all that, but also there's different threat models. And I was coming at it from the perspective of, not everyone has access to a Google device. Not everyone wants to buy a Google device, especially if you have to make a Google account to buy a Google Pixel to then de-Google it. Hello, from Louis Rossmann. I am building and currently deploying IDEA Social Hybrid Post-Quantum and Classical Cryptography Deb. Huh, interesting. But yeah, let me finish this video.
Just looking into Dario's PhD is, yes, he may have gone into OpenAI as a safety researcher. It might have been a weird pivot, but everything in your life, once you do a PhD, will converge back to that research 10, 20, 30 years after you finish. Or in the case of Anthropic, LLMs, the AI boom, it's ahead of its time. So it's accelerated that timescale slightly, but that dissertation concept will come back. I know mine has. It's woven through all areas of my life. It will never go away. Like I said, it's like being cursed or plagued by something that once you infuse it, once it becomes so deeply a part of you through that process, it will never, ever go away. And it certainly has not for Dario. Speaking of secret knowledge, I know something that only Dario knows and a couple of his very, very close friends. It has to do with the branding and the user interface of Claude. It's staring you right in the face. It's deeply symbolic of what they're trying to achieve with Claude. I have evidence to prove it. And so far as I know, I've been scouring the web, I've been Googling, I've been asking Perplexity. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person not personally connected to Dario that knows this about Anthropic. That's coming in part 3. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell to be notified. In the next episode, we're going to ask what happens to a guy who stops studying biological brains and starts making artificial ones. Thank you for.
We'll put that in for a future stream, the other parts that he's talking about. But let me see, what was the next video we had? I built a PTP clock, and I'm not sure what time it is. This is Jeff Geerling, another tech creator I really love. Isn't he, like, on his, like, third or fourth clock?
I built this PTP clock, and now every time I look at it and my watch at the same time, I'm not quite sure what time it is. I walked right into Siegel's law. And that might be Seagal's law, I'm not sure, but you might notice my voice is a little funny. That's because I've had a sinus thing going on, and now that my sinuses are clearing up, my voice is like, yeah, I'm going to take you back 30 years. Anyway, my watch only gives me the seconds, which are off by a little. This clock has 9 more digits, which means I'm getting time down to the nanosecond. The eagle-eyed among you might notice these last digits are a little blotchy, which is very much unlike the Precision Clock Mark IV over on my clock shelf. That's okay though. The main thing here is this is showing me PTP time from a special time server I have in the rack room.
You know, I was actually thinking about doing PTP, or at least an NTP server. So I was thinking about doing an NTP server because I'm going to have this rack soon. I'm working towards, I actually have the Raspberry Pi over here. That's going to be the new Unify controller. And then I'm going to have 2 Raspberry Pi 3B Pluses as my twin gate SASE nodes, secure access service edge, I think it is, but that's zero trust network access. And then there's a 4th slot, and I'm like, what the hell can I do with that? And I'm deciding what I want to do with the 4th, Raspberry Pi slot, because I don't want there to just be an empty slot there. And I have plenty of Raspberry Pis. So I actually was looking at hosting my own NTP server. But then me being me, it was like, but how do I get myself to actually have precise time? Yeah, anyway. But yeah.
PTP? Well, for now, just think of it like NTP, but for LANs. And because of that, it can be way more precise. That's useful for things like at the blues game my dad and I covered on Geerling Engineering, they use it to sync audio and video in an entire stadium. And that same tech is the basis for White Rabbit, an even more insane timing standard used for like Earth-scale neutrino detectors. Anyway, I saw this clock in Oliver Etlin's 39C3 presentation, excuse me, what precise time is it? And after seeing that, I immediately sent him a message asking if he'd share how he made it. He went above and beyond open sourcing his code and the list of all the parts.
Deuterium? Yes, let me go source deuterium from my deuterium provider.
And I didn't even know at the time, but this thing is running on a Raspberry Pi 4. But that makes me ask, why not just use another computer? Well, the Pi is particularly good because it meets 2 essential requirements for a PTP clock. 1, it's easy to interface with LED matrix displays using its GPIO. And 2, it has a special network adapter inside that supports PTP hardware timestamping. Now again, I'm not going to get—
Hold up, what? I think I got 1 spare. I got another Pi. I'm probably going to do it. Do you need a 4 gigabyte one, though? Because this is only 2. And my 4 gigabyte I was going to use for the Unify Server OS.
Into the details of why something like PTP hardware timestamping is important in this video, but I will tell you how I built this clock, and why, after I built it, I'm going to have to go back to square one because my Pi time server is actually drifting by a second or two, even though I thought I had it dialed in. Anyway, the parts you need will cost around 120 to 150 bucks, depending on whether the AI bubble is popped yet. The most important part is the Raspberry Pi. Any Pi 4 will do. Right now, the RGB
Any will do! Ha ha!
matrix doesn't work on the Pi 5, so just stick with an older Pi 4.
Hooray! I haven't upgraded to any Pi 5s! So, just so you're aware, let me see. We've got, hold up, where is it? We got this Pi, and then, wait, I got another Pi! Haha! I just got a whole bunch of Pi bacon around here. And then we have, so this Pi 3B Plus and this Pi 3B Plus will be rack mounted to be my twin gate nodes. But wait a minute. If I get another Pi 4, I can then get gigabit. I can do that later. I'm just like getting ahead of myself. So if I get another Pi 4, 2 gigabyte, just one more, I then can do twin gate with gigabit connections, which will be good once I get a high split with Spectrum, so that way I can have gigabit connections remotely. All right, good.
Then you need a hat, specifically this Adafruit RGB matrix hat. This will let the Pi talk to the LED matrices.
Wait a minute. I'm just curious. I could take... Okay, how much is a Raspberry Pi 4 at Micro Center? We're going on a trip on a magic rocket ship. Okay, so hold on. Pi 4. Raspberry Pi 4. I forgot they had a 1 gigabyte model of those. So, damn, the Pi 5s are expensive. Pi 4 Model B. Hold up, come on. You gotta have the 2 gigabyte version. Are you kidding me? You only have the 4, 8, and 1? But I want to keep them paired up, baby.
Then, of course, the matrices themselves. These are Waveshare's daisy-chainable 64 by 32 pixel LED matrix panels, and they come with all the cables that you need to plug them into the hat. To power it all, you need to supply at least 4 amps through this barrel jack, so throw in a 5-volt 4-amp power adapter. And finally, to boot up the Pi, you need a
Wait, hold up.
that you need to plug them into the hat. To power LED matrices them matrix hat, this way for. Then you need a hat, specifically this Adafruit RGB matrix hat. This will let the Pi talk to the LED matrices. Then, of course, the matrices themselves. These are Waveshare's daisy-chainable 64 by 32 pixel LED matrix panels, and they come with all the cables that you need to plug them into the hat. To power it all, you need to supply at least 4 amps through this barrel jack, so throw in a 5-volt 4-amp power adapter. And finally, to boot up
5-volt 4-amp power adapter. I could probably do that over PoE. Love Jeff. Great videos and RISC-V boards from him. Yeah, I got a bunch of those too. I got them from Hacker Santa at my local DEF CON group. I just got these. Whole bunch of RISC-V boards. So I got 3 boards over here. 2 little carrier boards over here. I think I have some more carriers around here somewhere, but yeah. Eventually I'll get more into RISC-V, but I got enough projects on my hand.
up the Pi, you need a micro SD card. Luckily, I already had a bunch of those.
Yeah,
now, you
I
could
do too.
technically build a clock that gets time from an NTP server on the internet and displays that on here. But I wanted PTP time, and I want it so that the time only shows up if you have a PTP server running on your network. So I guess if you don't have a PTP server, you'll need to add one of those too. I actually have a little TimePy project on GitHub that shows you how to build one of your own, but I'm warning you, this is a very deep rabbit hole, and you can easily sink a few thousand hours, not to mention thousands of dollars, into time. The hardware is pretty straightforward, but you do need to do a little soldering. And yes, my friends from over the ocean, that's how we say it, so don't tell me about how you solder. Anyway, that's pretty straightforward. There are just 3 headers to put on, but make sure you put them on the right way when you stick them in there. And one question I have though, something I've never quite gotten the hang of, after you finish soldering something like a GPIO header with all those pins, how do you clean up the flux around them to make it look really nice? I can usually get most of it off, but there's always a little bit left over that doesn't seem to come up with IPA. Is that just a matter of like what type of rosin or flux I'm using? Let me know if you know in the comments. Once the hat's put together, you just plug everything together. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but the best part of soldering something is seeing it not burn up and make sparks the first time you turn it on. Now I'm powering this particular setup off a Raspberry Pi power adapter that can supply 5 amps, but only if you use the right USB-C PD circuit. This little VFlex adapter is probably only getting 3 amps, which is going to make the display flicker a little. You really need a 5 volt 4 amp power adapter. Also, in some of my testing, I had the power leads plugged into the screw terminal with the crimp-on connectors they came with, but that's a little janky. I actually snipped those off and stripped back the wire and then put that in the screw terminal. I think for a permanent install, I might put in my own soldered connector straight through the board though. But I got sidetracked again. You're probably wondering how I'm getting all these fancy spinning cubes and Conway's Game of Life running on here. Well, these are demo scripts you can run as part of the RPi RGB LED matrix library maintained by Henner Zeller. If you put everything together correctly, you can run a command like this and get the LED matrices to show some pretty cool things. But I'm not interested in that. I don't even need color. I want to take these amazing RGB LED displays and have them just display one color and do one thing, show a PTP clock. Now, I have all the exact commands to run on my blog, and I'm actually leaving out a few steps in this video, like you have to disable audio on the Pi to make the matrix work correctly. But I'll put a link to that blog post with all the details in the description. The main things are you need to put some options in the Pi config, reboot, install the RGB matrix library, then compile the PTP clock app. And actually, I ran into a few issues with that, so I pushed up some code changes for Oliver to review. But once
So he created his own clock with PTP, Precision Time Protocol.
I got past all that, it worked. I was getting PTP time through my network, and this display showed it. And since I was using that Pi power adapter, probably getting just 3 amps, the display was kind of dimming in and out a little bit. But hey, it worked. So the next step was to wrap up the software in a systemd service and then see if I could get it to launch automatically while it booted up. I rebooted the Pi and waited a bit, and eventually it did, it worked. Looking more closely at the...
Okay, so I see he's got the DIY PTP Grandmaster clock with a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. The Time Hat is a $200 hat for the Pi 5. Which includes a Intel i226 2.5 gigabit NIC with PTP. Wait, the i226 support... Motherfucker. That's the exact same NIC I put in my PF Sense box. A dual i226. Anyway. So... Yeah. DIY PTP, blah, blah, blah. And the picture installed, video, blah, blah, blah. Assuming you don't want to watch the video, I describe the hardware itself here, as is built around the Time Hat from Time Appliances. Yep. That's a chunky piece of change. And I doubt I can run that PoE. Oh well. It was a nice idea.
the two sides separately, it looks like the part with the nanoseconds maybe doesn't dim as much as the other side, at least with this 3 amp setup. But I decided to buy a 4 amp DC adapter to fix that entirely, and I'll link you to it in the description if you want one of your own. Now, just laying out on the desk, it's a little bit of a mess. And I noticed Oliver had some kind of jerry-rigged metal bracket on stage during his presentation to hold it together. But I wanted something to make it easier to put the displays together and let you either stand it up like I have here or stick it on a magnetic surface using the magnet screws WaveShare included. So I got out my calipers and my ruler, took a few measurements, and got to designing. I'm still like a newborn baby in the world of CAD software, but at least I can draw a circle in Fusion now without wondering if I just broke the universe. My idea was just to have a brace between the two sides and use 4 of the screws that came with the displays to screw them together through the brace. And my confidence was high on print number 1. But I should know by now it's going to take a few more revisions. My final design was this, with some little standoffs so I could get my fingers around the round magnet screws. It also has a little bit of extra wiggle room since I noticed the 2 WaveShare displays had like 0.1 millimeters of overhang on the LED part, and I didn't want to put pressure on that. With that design sorted out, the 2 matrices come together and look like one long screen, which looks really cool actually. Add a little cable management on the back, and this thing is starting to look like something professional, which is kind of weird for me. I think I might spend a little time designing an angled stand that holds the Pi in place too, but that's a future Jeff thing. I got this clock working, and the first thing, of course, was that I checked whether it was in sync with my watch, and it wasn't. And here's the part of the video where I show you what happened. Okay, bear with me while I get this camera out of here. I'm going to show you what I think is going on. So here's 2 clocks. This is my clock rack. I have many projects up here that I have not shown off yet, and I'm working on videos for them. But I have this GPS distribution, and this clock is timed directly off GPS. So this is right now pretty much the most accurate clock I have in the studio, and it's pretty close to the time that I have on my watch. So you can see 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. But you might notice the clock behind it is off a little bit. This is a master clock.
He's turned into the real-life timekeeper.
This is like a broadcast clock, and it runs off NTP.
New in Linux and using Wi-Fi. Why my Wi-Fi IoT time got lost and need reconnected? Always wrong password, need restart PC. Could be drivers, could be... There's a lot of things. It's kind of hard to troubleshoot without actually getting more details.
Time. It's not the clock's fault. My NTP time server is getting its time through the same system that my PTP is getting. I am sorry about my voice here, but it is going all over the place. Anyway, this one's getting its time from the time Pi that's in the back, and that Pi is getting its time from GPS. Now, its time is distributed from GPS to the network interface card on that Pi because it has a special timing chip in it. And then that is distributing the time to the Pi's internal clock, which distributes it to this clock. So this clock is within like a millisecond of the PTP time on my network. And you can see that we are not in sync. In fact, this has drifted another second since I wrote the script for this video, so we're almost 3 seconds off now. And here's the problem. My time server back in the back is using an Intel i226 network interface card, and the driver for that in Linux, it has a bug in it, and I'll tell you how that bug looks. So over here, I have my oscilloscope set up with this. This is my GPS mini rack clock that I built with a Raspberry Pi Pico. This clock is taking a GPS input, just like the precision clock over there. And this GPS input is going into the Pi, and the Pi is putting the time out here. So that the time here, I don't have seconds on it. Someday I'll get that. But the time here should line up with the time over there. And I can see on here more easily the pulse per second, the pulse that is getting sent out to the network interface card on my time Pi.
Okay.
And what I think is the problem. So with the Intel 226 driver, what it does is it says every time that there's a pulse, every time that there's one of these little things, trigger a new second. And when it triggers the new second, it says, okay, hey GPS, what time is it? And then it puts that time like into its memory.
Right.
It says this is the start of the second of, what is it right now? Of 229 and 50, 229 and 51, etc. And most network cards, the drivers will take the rising edge. So see how this is a voltage. There's 0 volts, then there's a rising edge, and then a falling edge. Rising edge, falling edge. And you can see that this is happening once every second. So if I look on here, we can see these pulses. I have this measurement, the frequency and the pulse width. The frequency is 1 hertz, that's 1 pulse per second. and the pulse width is 100 milliseconds. The Intel i226 driver, for whatever reason, is taking both of these pulses every time, and so that the actual time that it thinks it is can be off by 100 milliseconds. The problem that causes is sometimes it might be taking like the previous second of GPS data. Other times it might take the next second of GPS data, and it confuses the clock. So there's actually a patch for that I might try applying. The other alternative is I'm thinking about setting up this as my time pi. So this would be my main clock, and I have two of these, so I could have two clocks going and choose the best one at any given moment. This has a different network interface. It uses the Raspberry Pi's built-in Broadcom chip, which doesn't have that silly rising and falling edge bug. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think I should do. For now, I might just apply the patch and see if I can get the other time server running back there. But I've spent probably, I told you it's a time sink, I probably spent 10 hours or 20 hours trying to get that time server to run perfectly, where this one might just run perfectly out of the box. So I might just go this route. Anyway, let's come back over here and get to the conclusion of this video. You don't have to listen to me blabbing on and having my voice go up and down all the time forever. Oops. Okay, line this guy up. Yes, so anyway, I'd really like to thank Oliver Etland for sharing his work.
Want to have a time server? Well, that's PTP. It's a lot more precise. So everything, when you're talking about GPS and a lot of different communications and things like that, it all relies on time. So for example, if you're dealing with cryptography, like your one-time passcode for your, the code that generates every 30 seconds, if that drifts just a little bit, you ever notice how, like, you may enter the code and then, while technically it says, like, you have 1 second left, it won't accept it? Time has to be perfectly in sync. And, yeah, there's a lot of applications where you need precise timing.
On this, when I saw this, I was like, I gotta have this thing, and I was so happy that he shared his code. Because even if it's not perfect, it's something, and it helps me with this visual aid, which also helped me immediately see that my network time is off, and I need to fix that. So already a useful tool for me, and it's a very cool visual aid for PTP. But anyway, I have all the links to everything in the description, including my blog post that shows all the details and all the commands to run if you want to build one of your own. And until next time, I'm Jeff Geerling.
I don't want to build one of those, but I also don't want to spend that much money just for a time server. System 76. Oh yeah, we already talked about the System 76 responding to age verification laws. We'll watch this for a little bit. Don't know if I'll watch the whole
Today we're getting
thing.
an official response to the age verification laws passed by California and Colorado from System 76 and Carl Rochelle, the founder and CEO of System 76. As we've already talked about some of the comments made by the principal engineer at System 76 in a previous post highlighting that System 76 was talking internally about this bill, referring to the California age verification bill and a similar Colorado bill and what that would mean for System 76. And now with this official response to the new US age verification laws affecting operating systems, we're going to be reading through exactly what this means and commenting, which starts with the challenges we face are neither technical nor legal. The only solution is to educate our children about life with digital abundance. I'll be posting a link in the description below if you want to read for yourself. Feel free to go down there and start reading. But let's get into the post here. Access is everything.
Use Pop OS. I'm on 2204.
In 1990, as a 10-year-old kid in the backseat, road trips from Colorado to Illinois meant hour after hour of staring at row after row of corn stalks. The boredom was palpable, and the corn possibly responsible for a slight obsession with orderliness. If only there was a little TV that could could help pass the time. Oh, and how the Encyclopedia Britannica must contain the answers to so many questions about the curious world out there. Were city streets really full of black leather clad people standing around, metal drums, garbage ablaze? Rocky was particularly memorable. What else lurked in the oceans and bounded across the savannas? I saw a PBS nature series happen to be on the same time I sat in front of the TV. Alas, encyclopedias were too expensive for us.
Yeah, we kind of went over this already. But yeah, I mean, politicians are really ignorant of technology. And the problem is, most politicians have a legal background, not a tech background. Like, I have honestly been in the room with a couple of politicians in the past, at the local level, not federal level, and they were blown away by a lot of the things that I've told them were capable of being done, or how technology works in different ways. Like, a lot of them were actually shocked to understand how the systems that they govern their own city with actually function. And that I knew, would tell them just, I've told a mayor once straight up, like, you realize with the way you budget for our cybersecurity, you may as well be running backwards naked in a cornfield. True story. I stand by that statement. They got compromised a few years later. But, but yeah, politicians are the epitome of people that are so full of ego the majority of the time. Like, look, are there good politicians that are good, well-meaning people? Yes, but the majority of them are egotistical schmucks that think they know everything but don't defer to experts, and they create more problems than they actually solve. I don't care what political party it is. Cornfield, half-baked movie reference. It's more like a Midwest thing reference, but yeah. So, yeah, we'll just move on. When eyes in the sky start looking right at you, new satellites that orbit the Earth at very low altitudes may result in a world where nothing is really off limits. Oh. So what I'm hearing is we gotta actually start doing radio positioning lasers to find where the satellites are and blind their... Okay, don't actually do that, because that would be illegal. But you can't think you weren't thinking it too. The company making the new satellites said in an interview, "We're acutely aware of the privacy implications. And why are you doing it?" The problem with a lot of technology stuff that we have going on these days is it's the Jurassic Park problem of people don't stop to think just because we can, should we? And that's, I think, going to ultimately be our folly as a species. Is there's so many things where we shouldn't really be going down and doing these things. Raising $100 million to get satellites up in the air. We really aren't going to have that much private... Good God! Albedo is developing space technology to deliver images with more detail than existing satellites. This rendering provided by the company shows the level of clarity they say will be possible. Okay, this is a rendering. I was like, if that actually came up, I'd be scared. Like... And speaking, like, what's gonna happen if they actually do catch people running naked backwards in a cornfield in their images? What are they gonna do? What inspired Albeto's sharp clarity goals, Mr. Haddad said, was Mr. Trump sharing an American spy image from his Twitter account that showed a heavily damaged launch pad in Iran. The image's resolution was judged to be roughly 10 centimeters, and that led to wide discussion of the commercial possibilities. Bro, I have to judge your ethics and morality as a human being to say, hey, you know, I saw a heavily damaged launch pad in Iran on Twitter, and I saw, you know, a spy image from the president, and I want to make that a commercialized technology. By the way, that's Ubuntu. I just want to point that out. I can tell that dock interface. You knew it was going to happen. In December 2021, Albedo won regulatory approval to loft an imaging satellite with 10-centimeter resolution. Its technology quickly caught the attention of the military and the nation's intelligence agencies. Damn Skynet is going to use that. Yeah. I interviewed at a company that originally started out doing imagery from high-altitude balloons. Huh. Definitely getting hacked by Israel if you keep talking about the war. Nah. And if they do, they'll find my stash of memes about Bibi in Hebrew. Calling him a benzona. If you don't know what that means... Just to make this very clear, I have it on record, okay? I'm not a fan of many politicians. I was anti-Netanyahu before it was cool. Okay? Kosed McBenzona. By the way, in Israel, you don't do this, you do this. Which, by the way, I think is more appropriate to say F you when you do this. The ladies know what I'm talking about. But yeah. I do not like the direction that satellites are going if they're gonna have that kind of access. From Ukraine to Iran, hacking security cameras is now part of war's playbook. Okay, I can't read the full article, but yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. They will find my stash of Wait, that's on an SD card. Safe. Yeah, this does not surprise me at all. If anybody has actually done a little bit of fun on Shodan, you'll see that there's a lot of cameras that are just open and not too hard to, start poking at. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Congress is considering abolishing your right to be anonymous online. The bipartisan push to remove anonymity from the internet is ushering in an era of unprecedented mouse surveillance and censorship. You see? You see? This is why I say, I hate politicians of all parties. I have no sacred cows. They all suck in different ways. What do you think about networking? Well, I think it's a great way to go and meet people and get outside and, yeah. What are you talking about, computer networking? I mean, it's the base of what you're going to need to know in all IT and cybersecurity, so you should definitely know it no matter what part of technology you're going in. Developer, software engineering, cybersecurity, whatever. It's where I started. Dishonor on them, or dishonor on them, on their family, dishonor on their cows. If I was wearing a shoe, I would throw it in their direction. In August 2024, the Biden administration hosted hundreds of influencers at the White House for the first ever Creator Economy Conference. Yeah, that was such the biggest piece of... Yeah. Yeah, we had the COSA, all that, yeah. We talked about that quite a bit. Yeah, so it's going through a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, and I've made a lot of YouTube content talking about. Yeah, so this is basically just rehashing a lot of the stuff that we've talked about with COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act. Hold up. Young people still have rights. Young people have led campus-wide protests against the genocide and against ICE in the country. Laws are blah, 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 blah. I'm just reading through. Yeah, so this is mostly just on COSA over here. Rising reactionary sentiment and right-wing extremism under Trump has accelerated the push for online verification. Greer said online protests documenting war crimes, even news articles, could be suppressed if these laws passed. Already similar versions of these laws are playing out abroad. Soon after the United Kingdom's Online Safety Act took effect last summer, the law was used to restrict content including videos documenting police violence, posts challenging the government's narrative on Palestine, and a subreddit dedicating to documenting Israel's war crimes. Fun. Yeah. Look, the reality is, are there issues with people that do things anonymously on the internet? Yes, I've never denied that. But the reality is you're going to have more negative things by removing the safety that comes with the anonymity that people have by being on the internet than by, yeah. It's just... We don't live in a perfect world. There are not going to be perfect solutions. And the guys that people are saying, you know, oh, well, you were doing this to protect the children. No, you don't fucking give a crap about the children. If you did, why are we not charging the people in the Epstein files? Did we all forget about the Epstein files? I know we're talking about the war in Iran right now, but I will not forget about the Epstein files, and neither should you. If you're on Linux, you weren't anonymous anyway. That's not the point. The point being is that you shouldn't have to provide your identity just to log into many different things. There's a difference between being able to figure out if you're actually who you say you are by tying in different things on the government side, you know, like you break the law or something, versus, oh, now I have to actually prove my identity just to use Discord, and then my identity gets leaked. I'll say it again, they want to make United States Epstein Party Part 2. Probably. I honestly think Mecca was a cover-up of Epstein photos, and Trump seemed the perfect time. Well, yeah, anytime, I've said it before, I said it earlier in the stream, anytime... I do not want to sound like one of those tinfoil hat types of people, but I want you to look into this for yourselves. Every single time there has been a geopolitical flare-up of some sort, where you had the Venezuela flare-up when, you know, suddenly we, you know, went into Venezuela and, you know, did that whole thing and it was in the news, and then suddenly we ramp up on ICE and, you know, suddenly ICE is all over the news and we're talking more about that and everything like that, and now we're talking about Iran. Notice the correlations in how the spikes in coverage about Epstein or their new revelations about the Epstein files come about. Like Discord, I can't understand it. The problem is, this is the totality of it with online. should be service-side authentication, but the services are constantly leaking people's info. No, there shouldn't be authentication, period. That's the point. Because now, and I've talked about this in my YouTube video, which if you didn't know, I have a YouTube. I make videos. I actually put this up not too long ago. Actually had a new video that went up today talking about, improving your Unify setup with more metrics and analysis and all that. So there's this video here. They want your ID to turn on your computer. So in this video over here, I'm just gonna, move to this part over here. Okay? Line is real. They always say we're protecting kids. Here's the core issue. The PR says protect kids. The outcome is more identity infrastructure, more verification vendors, more sensitive data pipelines, more breach targets, more function creep. If this really was about safety, the policy direction would be collect less data, retain less data, sell less data. Instead, the direction is verify more, link more, normalize more. And to be clear, the California model isn't just a settings toggle. It's designed so apps can request an age bracket signal from the OS through a real-time API, meaning your operating system becomes a part of the enforcement mechanism. That matters because once your OS is expected to provide identity-derived signals to apps, the pressure becomes age signals aren't accurate enough, self-report isn't reliable, we need verification, and that's how this grows into third-party verification, retention promises, compliance checklists, and the same oops, we leaked it headlines we've seen over and over and over and over again. You get the point. If you want more of that, there's a whole video on that. But yeah, so, yeah, it's just really effed, the whole situation of needing IDs to just access what we should be having every day. I was happy when I switched to Linux, Windows no, oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of people actually realize it. I mean, yeah, is it different? Yeah, there's definitely differences, but I think they're great. All right, next video. Consumer SBCs in 2026. This is from Explaining Computers. So SBCs, single board computers, like the Raspberry Pi, the Latte Panda, all of that. So we'll see state of play in market for single board computers. So let's see. And by the way, single board computers, I think, are one of the best things that have come about since I started tinkering with computers, because they're so cost effective for you to just get in and tinker, whereas before you used to have to buy multiple, like, full-fledged computers to be able to do anything, and now for, like, no more than, like, $50, you have a full computer.
Welcome to another video.
So the child safety answer is parent the kids better? Exactly! The reality is, government is not a parent, and there's a lot of parents that are shitty parents. We know that. But at the end of the day, none of these things are going to protect kids. The only thing I could possibly see somewhat of an argument I can entertain around, as I discussed before, maybe age-gating AI access to kids to be like 16 years old, but then I could run a local LLM myself, so. My Microsoft account flagged before my account for suspicious activity. OpenAI is pairing with AI child safety groups to push new legislation. I get you the bill link. Jesus.
From explainingcomputers.com. This time I'm going to talk about the state of play in the market for consumer single board computers. I last made a video on this topic nearly 3 years ago, and inevitably some things have changed. So let's go and get started.
That was a really awkward, like, stare and pause right there. Like, that could have just been a little bit better editing right there.
February 2012 saw the launch of this, the Raspberry Pi 1 Model B. Priced at $35, this was created to get young people interested in coding and to boost applications to study computer science.
Those were really great
It's
for the
important
time.
to
They were
note
really
that The
slow.
Raspberry Pi 1 was not the first single-board computer,
Nah.
with a strong industrial SBC market existing long before the arrival of the first Pi. Nevertheless, Raspberry Pi did create the mass market for low-cost consumer SBCs. In addition, with its general-purpose input-output pins, the Pi 1 and subsequent Raspberry Pi models became popular for IoT, robotics and industrial automation. And today, many consumer products have a Raspberry Pi embedded inside them. In 2024, Raspberry Pi became a public limited company, which in 2025 sold 7.6 million single-board computers. There are also many other players in the SBC
I would have thought they had more.
marketplace, including Radsa, Orange Pi,
What's up, Ewell?
Hardkernel,
How's it going, bud?
Banana Pi, Friendly Elec, Beagleboard, Up, Cardass, Libra Computer, Nvidia, Advantech, Contron, Aeon, and Latte Panda.
I've heard of like 75% of those.
Whilst Raspberry Pi was established to make low-cost computers for home use.
Hey, thank you for the super chat. That's not how his British Chuck, but he's good. Thank you for the super chat there, Bengali.
Enthusiasts, recently about 70% of Raspberry Pis have been sold to companies for embedded or industrial applications. Exact figures for other companies are hard to come by.
You know, the thing that pissed me off with Raspberry Pi back in the day was they were prioritizing for industrial uses, which is why you could not buy Raspberry Pis at like Micro Center anywhere during the shortage. Political article had a tiny URL, the link. Okay, my firewall's not gonna like that, I'm just telling you. Drop the actual link in Discord, if you can. Discord or Matrix. What about Orange Pi? Politico.
But a reasonable estimate is that at least 80% of all SBCs are sold to businesses rather than to consumers, with this percentage.
No, just drop the full link in the chat if you can. I can copy and paste it. Tiny URLs and stuff like that, my firewall blocks by default, and I don't feel like going in and unblocking it.
Continuing to rise. However, in the rest of this video, our focus will be entirely on the consumer SBC market. So, let's see how and why SBCs are becoming relatively less popular with home users. Back in 2023, I suggested there are three types of consumer who purchase single-board computers. And given that almost nobody disagreed, let's remind ourselves of these categories. Firstly, there are makers, people who want to use an SBC in a project, maybe in a robot for home automation, or to gather data from a camera or other sensors. Secondly, there are those who want a low-cost small computer, either to use as a small desktop PC or as a media player for retro gaming, or maybe to use as a NAS or small server.
Right.
And finally, there are die-hard SBC enthusiasts who often purchase the latest hardware with no particular use in mind. These are the superfans who just like to collect single-board computers. As soon as I mention these categories, I'm sure there'll be a few people in the comments saying something like, nobody should ever buy an SBC if what they want is a small, low-cost computer, because that was never what they were intended to be. So let's be absolutely clear. For many years, Raspberry Pi and a lot of other single board computer manufacturers did advertise their products in part to be small, low-cost general purpose computers, not for everything but for basic computing tasks. Why, for example, did Raspberry Pi move from having a single HDMI connector to two HDMI connectors? That was not just for people who wanted to use the Pi for digital signage, it was also so you could run two monitors on a desktop setup. And indeed, the news release for the launch of the Raspberry Pi 4 stated that it provided a PC-like level of performance for most users. And I also know from thousands of comments on this channel that many people have successfully and happily used Raspberry Pis and other SBCs as general purpose home computers. All of this matters because 5 or so years ago,
Okay, just going on and on and on about a Raspberry Pi, all that, yada yada yada. I don't feel like sitting into this video because the guy just feels like he talks so slow. So I'm gonna move on.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
These open source projects should never exist from Brody Robertson.
There's some developers out there which frankly need to have their text editor taken away from them before they before they do some harm to themselves, or better yet, harm to some other people. One such developer is Tigerboot. Not necessarily for what he created directly, but for what people have done with his creation.
Oh God, what did he do?
This needs to be put back in your mind. It needs to be unthought of, because I know where this goes. Frankly, it's already going there. So, for some reason, and I don't know why, you'd have to ask an Apple engineer, on the M2 and newer MacBooks, they added an accelerometer. I understand an accelerometer in a phone.
Actually, the Apple's had an accelerometer even in the old Mac. How do I know? So, this is my old Mac here. And at one point in time, in a very altered state of mind, I found out that you could actually install a lightsaber app with this. And you could actually throw it, like, wave it around like a lightsaber. And I got really drunk with a friend. And we were doing lightsaber battles with our MacBooks. They've had an accelerometer for years. So the reason why they actually had an accelerometer actually made sense. It is actually because you had spinning discs back in the day. And if it detected a fall, it would lock the disc up, stop it from spinning, and there was a ramp it would park the disc on, so that way it could protect the disc. Why they still have an accelerometer, that I can't answer. Because I can't understand why they would need an accelerometer now that everything is solid state, that the only thing that is moving in there is a fan. But the point being, there actually was a purpose for an accelerometer in a MacBook. Doing the old beer trick, drinking trick with your entire MacBook. Yeah.
In a watch. Why do you have an accelerometer in a laptop? I don't know. You don't know.
I do.
I don't think the engineers know.
I just
but
answered it.
There, and there is an API to access it.
Yes, there
so
was.
With that knowledge, what did he do?
What did he do?
He made a project called Spank.
Oh, God!
Slap your laptop, and it will yell back.
I have a MacBook that I was given for work, and now I'm deciding if I should actually install that. Oh!
This is a project which maybe you've got some ideas in your head on what this could be used for. If you don't, have fun. Obviously, you can do basic things like you slap the device.
Hey, that hurts. Hey, ouch.
And it complains that you slapped the device. See, that's like normal basic stuff. That's fun. That's okay. Nothing weird's going on just yet.
That's not what I would do with it. Because you know immediately where my brain went with that.
From there, someone felt inspired by that to go and make a NeoVim plugin where if you smack the device, it goes and deletes things you've typed. This is neat. This is fun. And a fun idea is, let's say you go and slap the laptop and then it closes the app you're in. It's a rage quit plugin. It's a fun little thing. Oh, nothing weird is happening. That's cool.
Okay,
That's cute.
that I could actually, you
And
know.
then Chinese Twitter found it.
Oh God. This is where I know it got weird.
I was Chinese. Is that so?
I am not able to play the audio here, but I will leave this linked down below. I can't play the audio because it'll probably get the video age restricted. If that doesn't give you an idea of what the sound is, watch the video.
That's exactly what I thought it is. We're not watching it here. But I have a feeling that it could be on. If you know, you know. Because it's going to be right up there with, hold up. I got another sound for this. God damn it.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
But you know, another sound that could go good with this is...
Oh, that's when I smack the shit out you. I smack the shit out. That's
Oh. However, maybe this one gives you a better idea of what the sound could possibly be.
Yeah, I'm definitely not putting that sound on at work. But I'm going to ask you to do that.
For anyone who's still not sure, it was used to make the laptop moan when you spank it. And because it's just an accelerometer, thrusting at it also
They use the accelerometer for location services like Find My and Maps. Okay, okay.
happens to activate the accelerometer. Why? Why did you do this? Why did you make this thing that let people go and make this?
The fact that he made this app and never thought that that would be the logical conclusion, because Rule 34, and then, as was evidenced by this, Rule 35. You do understand what Rule 34 and Rule 35 is, right, chat? For those of you that don't know, Rule 34 is, if it exists on the internet, there will be adult content of it. Rule 35 is, if there isn't, there will be soon. Case in point.
As I said, Tiger did nothing wrong here. He just unleashed a beast that people are gonna have some fun with. On a far more wholesome note, and on another note of why do MacBooks have this, another Apple engineer said, what if we had a sensor that detected the angle the hinge was at? Why? Who knows?
Okay,
All
that I don't know.
With the hinge is open. That's not open. Open or closed.
Right?
Everything in between
I don't give a fuck about.
has no function. Let's put a sensor there to give it a function. With that being said, you can have some
And this is why Macs are overpriced, because they got this useless BS in there. Okay, like, you can understand, like, okay, accelerometer. Maybe not everyone needs to see the point in it, but, you know, okay, maps, location, services. Okay, I'll give you that. A sensor on your hinge?
fun with it. Now, at the time, there was a bug and the angle was not being shown correctly, but you can have it go and creak as you bend it.
Okay, that is funny.
This is fun. This is neat.
Okay, that is funny.
This is cool. So what did somebody do with that? Well, it certainly wasn't as cursed as trying to have sex with your laptop. Instead, they turned the laptop into an accordion. Which surely is good for the hinge. I can't see any reason at all why that would be bad for the laptop. We are only just getting started. So there are a bunch of projects that you very well may have heard of, and they are all incredibly cursed, but you may not have realized that all of these were made by the same person, or maybe you happen to miss some of them. That person being Lyra, otherwise known as Rebane over on Twitter. If you've seen some really cursed CSS projects, there is a possibility.
Yes, I have seen them. I thought I recognized them. Rebane 2001 at infosec.exchange. If you're not familiar with infosec.exchange, that is one of the most popular cybersecurity related Mastodon servers. Mastodon is the decentralized kind of equivalent of Twitter, but yeah.
This is the person who made them. If that name doesn't ring a bell, well, you're gonna find out very soon the kind of creations they've made. They are a crazy person and should have their text editor taken away from them. I originally found Rebane with this absolute monstrosity. It's finally time. This is CSS Clicker, a fully featured incremental game where your goal is to design your own personal website and get as many views as possible. It's basically a cookie clicker clone. The fun part, it's a pure CSS game, meaning it has zero JavaScript or server-side code.
Oh,
because
God.
if you didn't know, CSS was a programming language. It's not a styling language. You can do really stupid things with it.
Wait, what?
Over on the website. Now,
I've never used CSS other than for styling. You can do a lot with that. What? Okay.
there is going to be audio that would normally play, but I can obviously not go and play that. All of this is CSS, okay? This might not seem crazy impressive. This is like normal stuff you do in CSS, okay? Let's start the game. Now we're playing a game. This is all CSS. What? What? What do you what do you mean? What do you mean this is all CSS? This is just a regular clicker game. There is nothing weird about this. It is a completely functional game. Obviously, it's going to have some limitations, like if you refresh the page because there's no server-side stuff, nothing is being saved, it is going to reset the game, but it's a fully functional clicker game. If you don't believe this is not using any JavaScript, go to the website yourself and turn off your JavaScript and watch it work exactly the same way. CSS is a programming language.
So you're telling me all this time we didn't need JavaScript, but wait, CSS could have become the hell that JavaScript is today.
So you know how in marketing for a folding phone, they always make a big deal about how strong the hinge is, how much the phone can be folded. They'll say things like, this device will last 1 billion trillion folds. It'll survive long past the death of the device. Well, have you ever wanted to put that to the test?
Oh.
And put that to a test in a fun way?
You're telling me that there is another way other than turning it into an accordion?
Well, I made a Flappy Bird clone that uses your folding phone as a controller.
Oh!
I don't like that sound.
Oh!
Every time
That's
it's
why
made,
I'm
I
like,
think the phone is
that
just
does
gonna
not
snap in
sound
half.
good.
I cannot think of many things that are worse for your phone than this. Assuming you have a folding phone and you are running Chromium, go to this website and you can go and play it. Obviously, I don't have one because I don't like wasting my money on stupid devices. But feel free to break your device if you want to. There is a warning here. Play at your own risk because this is really not good for the phone. However, there's something arguably worse, which they also made, because
Oh, God.
why not? I made an archery game that uses your charging cable as a controller.
Oh, God!
My charging port is basically broken. That cable is about as bad as well. This is sort of a spiritual successor to Foldy Bird. I wanted to make a game people without a folding phone could play too. I was inspired by Defend Your Castle and Bowmaster Prelude, although my game is very basic, and again, if you want to go and play that, that can be done. It will probably break your device at some point, and only works on Android. So, play at your own risk. But it is here, and you can go and play it. Obviously, like Foldy Bird, this is gonna require JavaScript, but that doesn't mean every bad idea is gonna require JavaScript, because we're not done yet. The reason I keep
We have 5 more minutes of this. What the hell?
JavaScript is, well, I was building up to something that, doesn't use it. I built an x86 CPU emulator in CSS, no JavaScript.
What the fuck?
You can write programs in C, compile them to x86 machine code with GCC, and run them inside CSS. CSS is a programming language. This does specifically require running it in Chromium. I'm in Florp, this is Firefox based, because CSS has a lot of additional weird things that are not necessarily standard, and this relies on a lot of those stupid non-standard things. But if you run it in Chromium, you can have lots and lots and lots of fun with this. Now, should you? No. But it is here. Because there is a lot of confusion about what this is and what it is doing, there is an FAQ to answer some of these questions. Is C++ a programming language? Do you really need to ask at this point? If the answer you come to isn't yes, I don't know how you got there. Surely you still need a little bit of JavaScript. Nope, this is CSS only. There is a script tag on the site which is there to provide a clock to the CSS, but this is only there to make the entire thing a bit faster and more stable. The CSS also has a JS-less clock implementation, so if you disable scripts on this site, it will still run. JavaScript is not required. My CSS clock uses an animation combined with style container queries, which means you don't need to interact with anything for the program to run. But it also means it's a bit slower and less stable as a result.
Right.
A hover-based clock such as the one in Jane Ori's CPU hack is fast and stable, but it requires you to hold your mouse on the screen, which some people claim does not count as Turing complete for whatever reason. So I wanted this demo to be fully functional with 0 user input. But you still need HTML, right? Not really. Well, kind of. This entire CPU runs in just CSS and doesn't require any HTML code, but sure, we'll call it HTML code. But there is no way to load CSS without a style tag, so that much is required. In Firefox, it is possible to load CSS with no HTML, but at this moment, this demo only works in Chromium-based browsers. As for why, This feature uses a few CSS features such as if statements and custom @ functions that are not available in all browsers. At this time, it's only compatible with Chromium-based browsers, but hopefully they'll change at some point since the features used are in the CSS spec. I usually make sure to target Firefox in the projects I make, but it's just not realistic for me with this one. Now, if you look at the repo, you will notice some Python in there, and running this yourself is going to require some Python. However, that is basically just setup code to get things working. It is not actually used for running the emulator. This comes up every time Rebane does something. What AI model are you using? I don't know why everybody assumes that this is written with AI. No AI is going to have any idea how to write something this stupid. No AI is being used here. And
Yeah, I don't know why people thought that this is AI, because I don't know anywhere that AI could be trained on CSS to do this. I have never seen CSS be able to do this. But, yeah. Yeah.
is it practical? No. There are much better ways to do this, but you can do it. In its current state, it cannot run Doom. And a big part of the reason why is it's very much not a complete implementation. There are a lot of things that are still missing. There is a lot of work to be done. And does anyone feel like doing that work on something this stupid that nobody should ever use? Probably not. I'm sure there is a lot more really cursed nonsense out there. And if you just want some extra reading, go check out the website for Rebane. There is some other stupid stuff on here. There is the blog, and the blog has more really, really dumb stuff on it. But I'll leave that for another time. I love the fact that some people just make projects that have literally no value in the world. Frankly, they have negative value. Them existing makes the world worse. But it's still fun, and I love it nonetheless. So let me know. Do you have some other weird and dumb projects that more people should know about, even though they probably shouldn't exist? If you do, let me know down below, and let me know what you think about some of the projects we saw today. If you liked the video, go like the video, go subscribe as well, and if you really liked the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, subscribe, Silly Bear Pay, linked in the description down below. I know where my buttons are. I never pressed them wrong. You saw nothing.
So the video for the people asking, it's these open source projects should never exist, from Brody Robertson. So, yeah, there's that. All right. This is the bill in the CA. I only saw, like, the Politico, first part of it, and then the rest, I think, got cut out or censored. I don't know. Don't know. But yeah, California apparently is trying to... California needs to back off the bong, okay? So... Anyway, we got one last video tonight. Not a tech video. This was a video that I found just to be on a lighter mood. So this has to do with some food trends that we saw on TikTok that were really bad, and how, of course, TikTokers kind of ruined it. This is from another YouTuber that I actually watch for stuff. Hold on. Let me see how long this video is before we get into it. Yeah, okay. This should be fine. New trend proves why the big backs will get bigger.
Hey, big back! How many times have you been to the fridge today?
Big back, a modern phrase, often spoken in the public square known as the internet, used to describe one as rotund and full-figured, particularly about the back and its generous proportion. Yet, in common use, the term hath strayed from anatomy, and now...
Goddamn, where do you find these people on TikTok? Like, I'm not on TikTok that much. I limit my TikTok exposure nowadays to like maybe at most 10 or 15 minutes a day.
Service as gentle mockery. Big back can now relate to anyone thin, rotund, and anything between, and has now been bestowed upon those whose appetite is vast, whose portions are bold, and whose devotion to food is, well, unwavering and unchained. The term big back has become an insult to some, but true to many, and that's right. The big backs have gotten even more big. They keep piling food and finding more ways to extend their back.
Y'all, it's definitely giving big back.
And
Yeah,
well,
I chose
they're
schedule
not
1.
stopping.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, TikTok will basically just mess with me on pretty much anything else. I also do Wolfenstein once in a while just to get by the TikTok censor.
And I'm back. If you're like me, food is very important. If you're American, food is even more important. In America, we love to take something simple and even healthy and then inject it with as much sugar and fat as we possibly can.
True.
Americans, why do we gotta like big backify everything?
And in today's example, we're talking Japanese cheesecake. Japan talk. It's like TikTok in America, but in Japan.
In the clouds,
Yes, they're still lip singing, dancing. Just like us, they have their life as a student just in Japan. They share the life of an unemployed Japanese in Japan, where they either go through their day and stay.
How limited am I on certain cyber stuff? Do they flag certain topics? Oh, on TikTok, they definitely limit quite a bit. That's why I don't get too technical here. That's why a lot of my content is more focused on YouTube, and then I clip stuff for TikTok these days. So if you want the full content for the stuff that I actually make, it's on YouTube, and then you maybe get clips on TikTok a week or 2 later. And it's not even the full video. It's like a couple of highlights from the video.
Unemployed, or that they're actually trying to find a job like this
Yeah, I
one.
got a Discord server and a Matrix server.
Share that they also have autism, just in Japan.
I didn't fit in during like PE class to work with other students on a move or like dance moves or something. I didn't really do well.
You and me both, brother. Is that my issue why I couldn't get any of the dance moves? Anyway, they pretty much have everything that we have just in the Japanese culture. And something that they also have, that we also have, is that they like to share their food. In Japan, don't be playing with their food. They've got a lot of things that go viral quick.
We're in Tokyo trying the viral Japanese stuffed cream sandwiches.
Like a lot of things.
That kind of
like
looks
Big
good.
Booty.
The face and the butt? I can't. I just drove an hour to buy these.
Like if you like shaped things, Japan is somewhere that you could go to find a lot of shaped things to eat.
There's a hot pot place in Japan where the soup base
Well, the presentation is kind of
Kuma-chan
part of the
Onsen in
thing.
Shibuya, which translates to teddy bear hot spring.
Especially if you want to go viral.
I tried the most overhyped apple in Japan.
Yes, I do.
To see if it's worth the hype. Candy apple in Kyoto
And
has a line
Mastodon.
of people waiting even before opening.
Something that many influencers cannot stop talking about is the Japanese cheesecake. According to this, well, TikTok video with text on it, many people fly to Osaka just for this cheesecake. Ooh. Much like fluffy pancakes, it don't taste good. Oh, not worth it. Huh, I'd rather the cheesecake we have in America.
It's probably a different flavor. Like, you go to Japan, they probably have different tastes. Well, because, like, in America, I know from living in Europe and also in the Middle East, Americans tend to favor sweet. Like, overwhelmingly sweet. Like, would you like sugar? No, like, would you like... How do I put this? Basically, sugar is the main thing. Like, there are people I know that put sugar on top of cereal. Like, sugar is, like, on everything. Like, Subway cake bread. Yeah, like, Subway bread in America, a lot of Americans don't know this, is classified as a cake in Europe. Or at least in the UK, I think it is. But yeah, it's ridiculous. No, it doesn't have to do with the corn subsidy. It has to do with, like, I think the sugar content.
This one just says no. You know what? They're all haters and probably too.
Do you have PeerTube? Not yet. Once I get High Split from Spectrum, I will then get a PeerTube and we'll work on that.
Americanized to taste the wonderful flavor of the most famous cheesecake according to this TikTok.
I'm not saying this is bad. I'm saying this tastes like sweet eggs.
So this
I also have to make my own
might not be everyone's cup of
tool
tea, but
to
there would be a Japanese
download
cheesecake that would take America by storm.
my YouTube videos and post
bite her
them
back
to
and be extending it
PeerTube.
like crazy because the Americans got insane with it. The viral 2 ingredient Japanese cheesecake.
We got the giant viral Japanese cheesecake. This thing
God
is
damn, that's
absolutely
large.
huge, 100% loaded. My gosh, this is a sin to humanity.
That cheesecake. That looks like that is a dessert for 10.
Don't even have to bake it. Boom! Us Americans.
Wait, what?
Easy and quick. It caught on substantially. The recipe is simple. You take your Biscoff cookies and your Greek yogurt, open that up, open up your cookies, slide the cookies into your Greek yogurt, pop on that top, put it in the freezer, come back and eat it up.
You know what? Greek yogurt, Biscoff cookies, not the worst thing. If you do it in moderation, that's not too bad. I'm okay with that. But of course, somebody ruined it, didn't they?
In Japan, this was meant to be some type of lower calorie
Yep,
snack
dude,
and a high protein snack. But then Americans got a hold of it and made it a big back snack.
Okay, y'all, I don't know if y'all been seeing this viral.
Well, it's mostly, I think, because of my modem. I'll get that replaced hopefully soon. I'll contact Spectrum, like, ASAP. But, don't forget I'm on Kick and YouTube.
Japanese cheesecake thing, but it's been all over my For You page, so I have
Hold up! We said Greek yogurt, right?
But it's been all over my
That's cream cheese, ain't it?
page, so
Philadelphia cheesecake. Oh.
I had to cave.
Now, sorry to point this out, but I kind of have to. The first video had Greek yogurt, which is normal to eat by the spoonful. This one, let me get a little bit closer here. Hold on. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. Has Philadelphia cream cheese no bake cheesecake. Yeah, something that's not usually normal.
I'm glad that she was like the same thing that I was circling on. Like, holy hell! Like, cream cheese, you know, you get the little bit, you smear it on a bagel, because it's thick, it's calorie dense. You're not supposed to, like, as much as many people like your cream cheese, don't get me wrong. You're not supposed to eat it by the spoonful.
That you eat by the spoonfuls.
And Bubba loves cheesecake as well as I do.
Not Bubba. I don't even know who Bubba is, but Bubba seems like he probably would like cheesecake just as much as all of us. I love cheesecake. Whatever she's gonna do here is probably gonna be delicious. So she gets some heaping scoops of no-bake Philadelphia cream cheese cheesecake into a Tupperware, which I thought was gonna be the cheesecake. Nope.
This is a lot.
Yeah, kinda.
That should be good, right?
And you know, for technical reasons, you don't want to have too much Biscoff cheesecake.
That way it's not over full, you know what I mean?
And then she shoves in about half of the Biscoff cookies.
I don't know how many you're supposed to put in here.
Stop, we're not done yet. It is no longer a 2-ingredient cheesecake. She had to open up some canned cherries.
And put on top of it.
Oh yeah, baby. And she loads it all up.
Ugh.
Good.
Hold on, but we're not done yet. She then takes the Biscoff cookies that are left over and crumbles that sucker on top. Nothing goes to waste, okay? Ma'am, I think there's still some left in the package. You might want to fill in some of those edges.
One more.
Like I said, nothing goes to waste. Y'all, she knows it's gonna be good. I know it's gonna be good. I don't even have to try it. The Americanized version of the Japanese 2-ingredient, more higher in protein, healthier version of cheesecake has blown up so much. It is all over TikTok. And the bigger you make it, the more viral it will get. I mean, I feel like the Biscoff cookie
Feels like a heart attack plus diabetes in a bowl. They don't even look appetizing.
cookies on there are even bigger than the normal Biscoff cookies.
This looks absolutely delicious.
No, it doesn't.
Americans took this healthy high protein snack and Americaned it all up.
How to make the viral Japanese cheesecake.
I just gotta check something. Alright? Philadelphia cheesecake, no bake. Okay. Calories. Whole tub. Good God! Just the tub is damn near 2,000 calories. Just the tub. So even if you scoop half that out, that's like 1,000 calories, give or take, right there. You're only supposed to have about 2,000 calories a day. Oh, that is so bad for you. That is so bad for you.
You would need the Philly cheesecake, no bake, Biscoff cherry with strawberry pie.
Now, okay, before we continue on, I just wanted to check something else. Greek yogurt, we'll compare 24-ounce calories. To give you an idea, the same amount, 24 ounces, like if you were to have 24 ounces, would be, depending on brand, fat content, all that, between 700 and 1,150 calories for 24 ounces. So half of that's 350 to 575 calories, give or take. So even if you were to splurge with that, plus the cookies, you're probably looking at close to maybe, like, if you ate the equivalent amount, maybe 1,000 calories. Give or take. Hold up. Let me just confirm that. Biscoff cookies calories. Okay, so 4 cookies is about 150 calories. Okay, so if I were to go back and do my high-intensity interval training workouts where I used to burn 600 to 800 calories, I could justify maybe doing half of this, but there is no way in hell I could justify doing this.
Filling and the cookie butter.
Wait.
Morning, Charlie.
I don't remember anyone saying about the Biscoff cookie butter. Like, first, I thought we just were talking about the cookies. Now we're adding the Biscoff.
It's only a 10-mile run to burn off. Only a 10-mile run. Yeah, the problem is, all the people that are eating this 2-ingredient little, Japanese Americanized cheesecake thing are not the type to even run 100 yards. Okay? I bet that most of these people don't even get 10,000 steps in a day.
Biscoff cookie butter. Remember when I said Big Back don't have no shape anymore? No, he's a thinner man. He's a Big Back. Big Back is more of an essence. It's a verb now. It's what you do. And adding Biscoff cookie butter to an already no-bake cheesecake that has Biscoff cookies is Big Back activity. But it's also delicious activity. I know this one's gonna be good.
Add the cookie crumbs.
I do have a question though, like what is your input on this? As he's explaining the no-bake cheesecake, he looks a little frightened.
Why work out when you can work blue collar?
As to what this cheesecake will do to him after he eats it, right? He looks a little bit worried here. That's not a face of a confident man who's gonna have a great, delicious bowel movement after this one and no stomach pain, because the way that my stomach would hurt after all of that.
Because this better be good. I don't even do trends like that, but this Biscoff cheesecake been all over the timeline, so now I gotta see if y'all really know what y'all talking about.
I don't know. It don't even seem appetizing to me.
Okay, come on. You guys know this is gonna be good. As someone who is bigger, as someone who is a sugar freak, and as someone who absolutely loves sweets and can eat a whole cheesecake.
Maybe it's because I'm not a sugar freak.
We all know that.
Like, except for a good jelly donut. I like jelly donuts. But I don't like frosted jelly donuts. And if I get chocolate, it's gotta be good European chocolate. Dark chocolate.
that cheesecake filling mixed with cookies and cherries, and now Biscoff cookie
like
spread
yogurt, so
is
just
going to
stick
be
with yogurt.
delicious.
I like yogurt
it's so
too.
Funny that a lot of these are like, I don't know if this is gonna be good.
Because the way y'all hyping it, I need to see is it really worth the hype.
It's cookies, Biscoff.
Hey, whatever makes you happy.
With cheesecake filling. I don't even have to freeze it to know that I like it. I could eat it just like that. I could take the cookies and just dip it into the cheesecake filling and have a great time for about 30 minutes. I won't tell you what happens after that because it's gross. And I know it's also happening at their place too.
Yeah, that's how that's gonna be happening afterwards too.
Took it to a whole nother level with the Biscoff cookie
Yeah,
butter.
dark chocolate's great. It's good for you if you have a little bit too.
And we have the audacity to have a fat acceptance community. Y'all, from someone who used to eat so much peanut butter or almond butter or any kind of nut butter at all, girl, how are we gonna
That's what
be
she
mad
said.
at the term big bag when we're pouring cookie butter, not almond butter, not peanut, but cookie butter on a cheesecake for science
What the hell is cookie butter?
Act like we don't know if it's gonna be good. It's gonna be delicious.
You know, I'm doing it exactly how I seen y'all doing it in the videos.
Is that how they were doing it? Because from the one I saw, I didn't see anybody warm up the cookie butter and like drench it all over. Like I said, this would probably be my favorite Biscoff cheesecake thing. I would love this. Why not? At this point, what do you have to lose?
Gotta go
Why
to Trader
not?
Joe's for cookie butter.
Get upset at me when I don't finish something.
No, thank you.
Can't get mad at her, right?
I'm one of the few members of my family without diabetes, and I will keep that trend going.
True. At what point do we call it just a Biscoff cheesecake? It's supposed to be Greek yogurt and Biscoff, not a KFC bucket.
Thank you!
I feel like you're saying that because she's black. Americans really be making it.
Okay, fair enough. She did have a good point there. I wasn't thinking it, but I was thinking that giant size thing, just comparison KFC bucket, but okay, she made a good point there.
Everything unhealthy. You know what? I can't fight that one, especially in today's video. It's very true. We went from Greek yogurt and a few cookies to cream cheese, Biscoff cookies, and then a tub of Biscoff cookie butter and cherries and raspberries. And then some confusion on, I wonder if this is gonna taste good. Anyway, you're probably wondering, where did this kind of originate from? Like, what influencer made this super popular? I can't pinpoint one influencer, but there is someone's name that's getting floated around of where they saw it from originally. And his is even more different than the Biscoff cookie recipe.
Enough with the hacks. Okay, we got 2 Greek yogurt and coconut crackers.
That's right, it started with Greek yogurt and not Biscoff cookies, coconut crackers. That's right, Americans swapped coconut cookies for Biscoff cookies, and many people were saying Americans make everything unhealthy, which I...
You know, Greek yogurt and coconut cookies? That actually sounds fire! Where I go get some coconut cookies? Coconut cookies. Apparently a little bit more common than I thought. Oh! I forgot I used to get those coconut cookies over at Costco. Now I just gotta find where they get, to get them when they're not at Costco. Alright. The Thinsters.
But if you just do a little bit of Googling, the coconut cookies are pretty much the same amount of calories and sugar as the Biscoff cookies.
Fair enough.
Is it high in protein? As this creator and many other people said, that it is a 2-ingredient, high-protein homemade cheesecake. It actually can be. It can be up to about 30 grams of protein depending on which Greek yogurt you choose.
That could be a good post-workout meal.
It's not gonna make you a big back. Because
fair enough, but it's a good post-workout meal when you need to get protein within that 30-minute window of working out. You know, so you either get that scoop of protein in, you know, get that shake, or you can get this. You know, something. Gotta get that protein.
adding the cookies is adding more than 150 calories, as I saw many people adding, well, the whole package.
This is mine right here. It's just so much going on. This is mine right here. Damn, 24 days to the new year, and your back getting wider. But it's cool, because mine too.
But Greek yogurt is actually pretty low in calories, about 100 calories, depending on which one you get.
But for some reason, us
Americans can't just look at something healthy.
Yeah, it's not good. Well, it's just like anything. You gotta keep everything in moderation. Like, dude, if you go around and eat, like, tons and tons of sushi every day, it's about caloric deficit. You know, you gotta keep your calories in check, you know? If you're taking in more than you're burning, you're gonna gain.
big backified. Because now people are adding all sorts of cookies to this.
Oreos and then some white chocolate. Put it aside in the fridge again.
Trying the viral Japanese cheesecake for the first time. Yes, sir, I got it.
I think I just created the best viral Japanese cheesecake, an Oreo Reese's one. I'll show you how to make it and let's try it.
Is this still the 2-ingredient Japanese cheesecake? Because I'm starting to think that it's not.
Most of these sit in the fridge for about 3 hours or overnight so the cookies get soft, but I couldn't wait that long.
To be fair, I wouldn't be able to either. You put Oreos on anything and I turn into a rabid beast. And now this has gone so viral.
Fair enough, I don't keep Oreos in the house for that reason.
Bigger and bestest, Biscoff 2-ingredient cheesecake.
My Japanese cheesecake tastes better than yours, and this is how I made it.
First of all, how do you know? I haven't even made it yet.
Big bag, big bag. Big bag, big bag.
First, before we get to the
that
cheesecake,
Kirby with the animation.
Meal, so we don't need 5,000 calories worth of Biscoff cookies straight from the bag, because cookies are one of my favorite things to eat. So we need a low-calorie, high-volume meal full of protein to keep us full. This is my breakfast I eat pretty much every single morning, and after I stupidly asked Garrett if he would like me to also make him a meal, and I had a slight breakdown for the slight inconvenience, it was all okay because I remembered he makes me food every day. So here's his meal and here is my meal. Mine was about 298 calories. And
that looks good.
I drink a ton of water and I mix in my daily hydration pack into the witch's brew. I got it from Amazon. After I paid my egg tax to the local Munchkin troll and of course the white wolf, it's time to make some cheesecake. And I noticed I got the regular cheesecake and not the tub of already pre-made cheesecake. Shit. So it's time to go to the store. Oh, Garrett. All right, here is the healthy one. I just took it out of the freezer and I definitely have to wait till it thaws out because it looks weird. So next scene is it thawed out, hopefully. It just looks like kind of iced yogurt. Well, I just read the directions and you're not supposed to put it in the freezer, but Garrett just went to the store for Greek yogurt for himself, which is now Greek yogurt for me. So we're gonna do the second time's a charm and I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator for 4 hours, not the freezer. My plan was going to make the unhealthy cheesecake, but I decided let's just get some yogurt and make the healthier version because let's be real, I do love cheesecake and I'm definitely gonna love it with Biscoff cookies. This time I decided to make an appropriate portion size. The goal, make this treat between 150 and 200 calories. So we have the scale, a small container so we don't overeat, and I'm going to just add 2 Biscoff cookies total. One for the bottom part, I guess the crust. I even added cookie butter, which I haven't had since my teenage years when I ate the whole container. If you have big back tendencies, do not put this into your house. Look how quickly I had to close this thing because I took a tiny bite and honey, I could eat this by the spoonful. I absolutely love that I saw videos of people adding fresh fruit to this, so I added some fresh strawberries instead of the canned fruit because canned fruit is always high in sugar, high in calories, and one fresh strawberry is like 2 to 3 calories or something, so
that's right, always get fresh fruit. At worst, get frozen. Like I for a snack, I'll get like the frozen like berry medley with like strawberries, blueberries, all that. Put that in a bowl. It's like a late night sweet ice cream with just berries.
My head, that's like 0. I crushed my second cookie on top, poured the heated up cookie butter, and placed it in the fridge for 3 to 4 hours, and went to go play The Sims to control my own little world. All right, I'm trying this in our guest room because Garrett is playing video games and he's really loud. So here's what it looks like. Oh, I don't know why I blew on it. Anyway, here's the bite. You know what? I thought it was gonna taste weird because it's just the unflavored yogurt and it gets a little sour. Like I don't hate, but I just really strongly dislike yogurt. But it's not awful. It's not something that I would make for funsies because it's still kind of higher in calories, but it is tasty. Does it taste like cheesecake? No. But I feel like people who like yogurt and they want something light and sweet like this, you might like it. Definitely tastes cookies. I do like that the cookies are softer in there because it like kind of condenses after a while. The strawberries are nice. I don't think I would love it as much without the strawberries. Like I like the fruity taste. You know what would make it?
I think I'm gonna stick to my yogurt and berry ideas that I do with my stuff. I don't know. Cookies, it's, I'm not a big cookie person.
Better, more Biscoff cookies, because I want more like crust, which defeats the whole purpose. And we're back. So of course on TikTok, this is all fun and exciting. You make it as big as possible. You get a lot of attention of people saying, whoa, this looks delicious. I want to eat this just like you. The more attention that you get, the more negative attention you'll also get. And this is pissing people off.
You vacuums? Oh, America, they're already trying to kill us. You cannot go to a supermarket and find like a item without sugar or weird oil.
Yeah, Americans don't care. People say that they do care about those things, and yet they don't look at ingredients. If people went to the store and stayed at the outer corners instead of the inner corners where you're gonna find the Biscoff cookies, the Biscoff cookie butter, the canned cherries, the honeys, the everything, we wouldn't have this issue. You would just get your proteins, your vegetables, your potatoes and rice, and you would march on off out the store.
Summer is in 4, 1, 2, 3.
Feels like this is too much. I saw yogurt, pistachio, honey, and lime. That recipe looks... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would totally eat yogurt, pistachio, honey, lime. That looks good. It's still a little bit heavy, but as a treat, I'd go for it. Like, don't get me wrong. I love ice cream. But I have to, like, moderate that shit to kingdom come, because... if given the opportunity, I will polish off a half gallon of ice cream in one sitting. I've done it before. I've hated myself, but I've done it before. And just to make it clear, it has to be good ice cream. I'm not talking that store-bought shit. I'm talking that good, local, real ice cream.
Put it down and drink some water.
Very true. Usually in the beginning of the year, people do really well and they really want to get slimmer, lose some weight, be healthier, be more confident walking down the beach. But this 2-ingredient Japanese Biscoff TikTok viral recipe came around and people said, summer, it's fine. The beach is gonna get what they get. And my liver is also gonna get what it gets. A fatty.
Y'all are just big, gluttonous, and greedy at this point. Why am I seeing no-bake cheesecake with Biscoff cookie inside of it? This is so big. Like, your backs are expanding in summers in 150 days and you're trying these recipes?
So a lot of people are upset that these guys were critiquing this recipe and saying, you know, using the term big back. It's, I guess, offensive to some people.
This stupid fucking big back trend shit that's going on right now pisses me the fuck off.
When, if you're in the bodybuilding community, big back is very complimentary. But they do...
It is, actually, it is. No joke. Big arms, big back, big legs, big chest. That's a compliment when you're at the gym.
You have a point. I don't know if I need to get in my car and scream about someone eating cheesecake or a 2-ingredient cheesecake and then morphing it into a 4-ingredient cheesecake and they eat about 3,000 calories in one sitting. I don't have to do that. Ain't nobody forcing me to do anything. But they do have a point. We have a tendency to want bigger and better, which usually means super unhealthy and fatter. And in this case, obesity and being bigger is not good. It's just gonna hurt your knees.
Y'all backs gonna be leaking transmission fluid.
And that's a fact. I've seen it before. When your back gets so big, you start leaking and then you blow up. I mean, we learned this with Squidward and the Krabby Patties.
Happen. Am I gonna blow up?
No, worse. It'll go right to your thighs.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob did try to warn us.
You blow up.
Krabby Patties go to your thighs. Biscoff cheesecake tub goes to your back.
I'm talking about leaking!
So with this new trend and everybody eating around 3,000, 4,000 calories in one sitting, a lot of people are talking about gluttony. So much so that the religious people have now come into the cheesecake debate. Point of view, the Lord telling you...
God... Pardon the pun. Could the religious people just stay out of it like all the non-religious debates, please?
To forget about making that no-bake cheesecake with Biscoff because not only is it big back, but it's the gluttony he talks about in the Bible.
And to those of y'all participating in that Biscoff Japanese cheesecake, whatever the fuck, you still have time to repent for your sins.
I will hold space for whatever it is that you feel like will defend your actions, because ultimately that is something that only God can forgive you for, and because I'm not God.
Whoa! I'm now tempted to go make that cheesecake whatever version just to spite her. I'm sorry.
America is very gluttonous. It's terrifying.
Which I'm not religious, but I did grow up in the church. And I always wondered why people would point out certain sins, but they never talked about gluttony when it came to food, because when I was little, I even noticed, you know, a lot of people were rolling in there to praise the Lord.
Too bad
And
it's not
after
made from
service was
devil's
my
cake.
favorite part, the food part, and there was a lot of it. And a lot of gluttonous sin was happening. But at the same time, do you guys know that you don't have to eat the whole tub at one time? You, like a tiny little bit, or just have a tiny little bit. And if you don't trust yourself to have a tiny little bit, you can make a little, like a little bit. You don't have to make the whole thing. I mean, you know it's bad when...
But the problem is, most of the people that are like, at least that she was showcasing, they don't seem to be the type of people that are just gonna sit there and just have a little bit. Those are the type of people that are, you know, gonna have the whole thing. America as a whole has a portion control issue. Those crap ingredients are designed to leave you wanting more. Exactly. Like they've proven, like when you go to fast food, it's designed not to be filling, but to like make you want more food. Like, I can go to fast food, get basically what is the same amount of food in weight as a shawarma from my local favorite shawarma shop. When I finish the shawarma, I'll feel satiated, I'll feel full, I'll feel, you know, the kind of full where it's like, I'm good, and I just want to go for a walk. But I finish a burger or whatever, you know, with the fast food, I feel like I still want to eat some more. Or I don't feel good. And salt and soda. I don't actually have soda. If I ever actually go to eat out at fast food restaurants, I actually get soda water. And if the combo ever gives me soda, I don't drink the soda, I just get water. I need 3 Mexican pizzas from Taco Bell. If I go to Taco Bell, I just get bean burritos. Bean burritos and tacos. But generally, I don't go to Taco Bell that much. But it is one of the more affordable of the fast foods.
Other obese people are calling this gluttonous.
You should try the Japanese cheesecake recipe. I've been seeing you big bats.
Oh.
Eat the entire jar of Philadelphia no-bake cheesecake at one sitting. And you know what? We're not doing that kind of gluttonous behavior over here. So we're doing the Japanese cheesecake Greek yogurt version because it's healthier. Let's try it. Let's go.
So I don't know how this works. Are other people upset when like an overweight woman uses the term big back and calls other people big back? Is this big back on big back crime?
People like to be like, oh, you can't call anyone fat.
I was thinking it, but she said it. Salt in your soda. Why do we need salt in soda? So we always thirsty. Yeah. I mostly drink soda water. You know, sparkling water. And then I drink, you know, spring water. I mainly drink water. And if you don't see me drinking water, normally you may see me drink a juice. You may see me drink maybe an energy drink, but it's usually the V8s over here. You may see me drink a glass of wine, tea, coffee.
Fat because you're fat. I feel like I have the credentials to call people fat because I'm big and I'm trying to unbig my back. But you fat Americans that were like, the Japanese cheesecake doesn't taste like cheesecake, it tastes like Greek yogurt. That's the whole point. It's not supposed to taste exactly like cheesecake because it's Greek yogurt.
Anyway, she made a smaller amount and she was pretty excited about it.
Oh, look at how good that looks.
See, small portions are possible. As many people kept making the big version of the Biscoff cookie, the small version of the Biscoff cookie, or kept reminding people how gluttonous they are and that we need to lock in for summer, many people got on TikTok to share their theories about the Biscoff cookie cheesecake.
Can I be honest for a second? I think that this whole no-bake Biscoff cheesecake thing that everyone is hopping on the trend of doing is literally a New Year's weight loss sabotage situation that TikTok is trying to do.
When I was explaining this whole trend according to Garrett, he said that his theory is that the food companies do this. They probably hire some cute people, some exciting people, some really good at speaking and entertaining type people for TikTok. And they say, do this thing so it can increase our sales. Make a whole cheesecake thing for the fat idiots and the sugaraholics and the people who have to follow everything they see on TikTok to do so that our sales go through the roof. And then now we're here. Like, I feel like all these—
that seems fair enough.
Together. Anyway, at least I know I can rest my head easy on a pillow at night knowing that if you watch this video, then you know that you can make yourself a smaller version. You can make the bigger version and have something called a serving size. It's this whole new thing. And lastly, I have learned that many people are not scared of having a heart attack. They aren't scared of obesity. They aren't scared of having a
cake on their first day.
Like, they are literally back in 2000.
Wait, your friend's mom would apparently have weight loss competition with her friends, then delivered them a homemade cake on the first day. That is diabolical, Abby. I love your friend's mom, though. Diabolical. But I love it. I love it.
2008 engulfing themselves in the word YOLO. They don't care if they're here for a short time. They only care if they get that Biscoff cheesecake. And they are definitely doing it on TikTok. Anyway, I'm marked safe from a Biscoff cheesecake. Are you?
I'm a gym girly. All right. That was a good way to end the night off, I guess. I'm definitely going to be contacting Spectrum to order me a new modem. I think that's the issue, because every time I reset the modem, it works. But, yeah, she would also change her birthday on Facebook every month so she could get birthday comments. That's a bit cray-cray. Makes sense. All those ingredients are one corporate BS product after another. Yeah? Well, anyway, thank you all for joining me. It's about 10:30 right now, so I gotta get ready for bed. Still gotta fold my laundry and all that stuff. But thank you all for joining. I love all of you. Stick around for the raid if you're over on Twitch. As always, happy hacking. Make sure to check out the YouTube, all the socials, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Discord, Matrix. Links are in bio for all of you people. I did release some videos over the past few days. There's a video that actually came out today. You should see it. There's some Unify stuff. You learn some things. Some cool project. Like Unify Polar. But, yeah. Anyway, love you all. Stay safe. Happy hacking. And I will see you all. Wednesday is the next official day. Maybe if I feel up to it, I'll stream it again tomorrow. Or Thursday. Well, no, not Thursday. I got a thing to do. But I will see y'all later. Bye.